Chapter 656. I will take down my brother in the name of justice. Old Bai, your reminder is very true, but I have no way to directly contact Lang Yuan's spirit. I used 2 opportunities in the past to obtain 2 immortal goo from that old man, Lang Yuan's spirit, and I was nearly chased out by him. I don't think I'll be able to contact him. Fang Yuan smiled bitterly. Is that so? Tai Bai Yunsheng's joy on his face froze. Linking between 2 blessed lands could be done through whole earth goo, directly connecting both of their territories. Earlier, when Fang Yuan traded with Immortal Crane sect, he used this method, but Fang Yuan and Lang Yuan's spirit's relationship was naturally not close to that extent. Most critically, Hu Immortal Blessed Land was in Central Continent, while Lang Yu Blessed Land was in Northern Plains. Even the whole earth goo was not easy to use. To directly connect to there, he needed to use Stargate goo. Stargate goo came in pairs, but Fang Yuan only had 1 Stargate goo left now. The other one was destroyed in the Wind Veil of Assimilation. It seems we can only return to Northern Plains and meet Lang Yuan's spirit personally, before asking for cooperation. Tai Bai Yunsheng sighed. No, there is another method that relies on luck. Fang Yuan hummed. That old land spirit loves refining goo, but he cannot go out to search for goo refinement materials. Lang Yu Blessed Land's terrain is very plain. It can produce very limited varieties of materials. He will have to go to Treasure Yellow Heaven often. We can wait for him patiently, staring at Treasure Yellow Heaven until his divine sense appears. Right, there is still this method. Tai Bai Yunsheng's eyes shone. So from now on, I will be relying on you, Old Bai. Fang Yuan said as a matter of fact. No problem. Count on me. I will go back now and open connecting heaven goo, linking to Treasure Yellow Heaven. Tai Bai Yunsheng patted his chest. He could not wait any longer. He was brought back to his residential area by the land spirit. He chose to build a temporary house at the western area of the Blessed Land. That was his temporary home. The terrain of Hu Immortal Blessed Land was similar to Northern Plains. Tai Bai Yunsheng did not feel any discomfort living here. He felt a serene feeling like being at home. Having roamed Northern Plains for about half his life, he had finally found an organization and had settled down. Therefore, he especially treasured this home. After sending Tai Bai Yunsheng away, Fang Yuan fell into deep thought. He had already thought of cooperating with Lang Yuan's spirit long ago. In truth, a few days ago, he had asked Little Hu Immortal to keep an eye on Treasure Yellow Heaven, waiting for old Immortal Lang Yu's divine sense. But there was no progress at all. What he was thinking about now was not the matter about Lang Yuan's spirit, but about Tai Bai Yunsheng. His journey in Northern Plains was very chaotic. Now during these days when he was in Hu Immortal Blessed Land, he observed Tai Bai Yunsheng heavily and gained a lot of insight on this person. Tai Bai Yunsheng is indeed a good person. He has ability, but no ambition. His intelligence is only that of an average person. What he really has is the wisdom accumulated from his entire life's experiences. He does not have a grasp of the big picture. It is no wonder that even though he was a former young tribe leader, and having roamed for so many years, with sufficient reputation and strength, he did not manage to create a force of his own. Fang Yuan evaluated in his mind. Such a person is best as a follower that closely sticks to him. He should not be left alone due to his lack of leadership capability. Because of his nature and beliefs, if he is far away, not only would he be unable to cooperate, he might even ruin plans. Over these days, Fang Yuan had been in constant contact with Tai Bai Yunsheng. Their relationship had been improving. During several of their late-night talks, Fang Yuan talked of his experiences since rebirth, only with the addition of the non-existent Purple Mountain True Monarch. Meanwhile, Tai Bai Yunsheng talked about basically all of his life's experiences, many times. Even though Fang Yuan already had some plan in his heart, he still asked Tai Bai Yunsheng to come over and discuss it. It might seem like a waste of time, but this was Fang Yuan's elaborate plan. Firstly, it was to test Tai Bai Yunsheng's ability and true self, to see if his emotions really came from the bottom of his heart. Secondly, telling him about the current situation without concealing anything increased his sense of belonging and his feelings of responsibility. Thirdly, it was a type of formless suppression towards Tai Bai Yunsheng. The result of all their discussions usually ended up with Fang Yuan's method being used. and Tai Bai Yunsheng's method being denied. As this happened more frequently, subconsciously, Tai Bai Yunsheng would rely more and more on Fang Yuan, paying greater attention to his plans and denying his own ideas. At crucial moments, Fang Yuan would be able to make decisions without any opposition. They would not quarrel over their own ideas and lead to conflict which could botch a situation. Fang Yuan was not He Lu Lan. He Lu Lan had the rank 6 slavery gu and could enslave a gu immortal. Fang Yuan did not have it, but Tai Bai Yunsheng was neither by Ning Bing nor He Lu Lan. Most importantly, Fang Yuan had his own methods, and he believed, even without slavery immortal gu, he could still subdue Tai Bai Yunsheng to squeeze out his greatest potential and become his tool. This was the confidence of a demonic path overlord. Central continent, Feihe Mountain. The clouds were abundant in the sky. Thousands of cranes were flying. Winds blew on the verdant green mountain. Fang Zheng sat on a cliff, focusing his gaze on thousands of iron-beak flying cranes, as they created different formations according to his will. At times they charged, at times they split into two to pincer attack, and at times they formed a circular defensive formation. The wind blew his long hair. His bright eyes were shining with determination. Tough times make men grow, to Fang Zheng. The Hu Immortal Blessed Lands competition a year ago was a major setback for him. After some consolation, he walked out of his despair and put in even more effort. He had almost risked his life to cultivate daily. At this time, a voice came from Fang Zheng's aperture. Good. Your command of the iron beak flying cranes have reached a stage where you can manipulate them with ease. They move with a thought from you. Now, you can already go back to the sect to take the flying crane manipulation test and attempt to get B grade evaluation. You have a 60% chance of succeeding. If you do, you will get the test reward, a rank 5, 5-hole jade flute gu. Once you have this gu, your manipulation of the crane group would reach quasi-enslavement master level. The voice originated from a spirit incubating flea in Fang Zheng's aperture. Fang Zheng's master, Lord Sky Crane Soul, was residing in this gu worm. Rank 5, 5-hole jade flute gu? His eyes shone. Excitement was all over his face. Yes, master, I will go now. Fang Zheng stood up. He willed, and a large iron beak flying crane king arrived before him. He jumped and easily got on the crane king's back. The crane king cried out in a proud tone. Fang Zheng sat on the crane king's back, the crane group flying around him. It was a scene of white as he flew towards Immortal Crane Sect amidst the wind and clouds. Not long after, he arrived at White Jade Square D. The iron beak flying crane landed in the square. Fang Zheng had just landed when one of Immortal Crane Sect's disciples ran over quickly, greeting him. Senior brother Fang Zheng. Fang Zheng nodded. Junior brother, I am here to take the flying crane manipulation test. Senior brother Fang Zheng, please follow me. Immortal Crane Sect's disciple led the way. Quickly look, guys, that is senior brother Fang Zheng. He is the #1 elite disciple of our batch. Did you hear? Senior brother Fang Zheng is actually attending the flying crane manipulation test. Senior brother Fang Zheng is an enslavement path genius. To think that he has already reached the stage of quasi-enslavement path master. He is truly amazing. Along the way, everyone's whispered discussions entered Fang Zheng's ears. Fang Zheng heard them and smiled lightly. He was now fully grown. His body was tall, and he had long black hair that resembled a cape. His eyes were crystal clear. Although he looked ordinary, he had quite the disposition and was full of life. Wearing a green and white robe, he looked like a gentleman. It was very comfortable to look at him. Although senior brother Fang Zheng is strong, his brother is even more amazing. He is a superb character who managed to obtain Hu Immortal Blessed Land. That's right. According to a reliable source, his brother, Fang Yuan, is secretly a legacy disciple of a certain supreme elder. When Spirit Affinity House were on the verge of taking Hu Immortal Blessed Land, the supreme elder had no choice but to send senior brother Fang Yuan out. As expected, he shocked everyone and sealed the deal, obtaining Hu Immortal Blessed Land. Fang Zheng has a good brother. The Guts Gu on Dang Hun Mountain can strengthen the soul. I can bet that Fang Zheng used the Guts Gu. Otherwise, with just his own hard work, how can he raise his cultivation to rank 5 in 1 year? Furthermore, his enslavement path attainment improved at lightning speed. He is actually going to take the flying crane manipulation test. The tone of these people was sour and bitter. Fang Yuan heard them as his smile slowly vanished. His fists, which were hidden in his sleeves, were tightly clenched. Brother. Fang Yuan's eyes shone with a trace of darkness. Ever since Fang Yuan used some unthinkable method to snatch Hu immortal blessed land, Immortal Crane Sect had declared publicly that Fang Yuan was Immortal Crane Sect's disciple. During this year, Fang Yuan felt like life had returned to the past, when he was suppressed by Fang Yuan, and no matter what great results he obtained or how many improvements he made, others would only praise him briefly before mentioning the even more impressive Fang Yuan. Calm your spirit, my disciple. Lord Sky Crane's voice came from the spirit incubating flea. Lord Sky Crane's experiences were much richer than Fang Yuan. After these years of staying together, he had grasped a firm understanding of Fang Yuan. He consoled Fang Yuan. These years, I have seen all of your hard work. You are in no way inferior to your brother. Don't forget, you are now a rank 5 Gu master, a quasi-enslavement master. I bet your brother is not your match right now. In any case, Fang Yuan is going to face extermination soon. The sect has mobilized 3 supreme elders in this plan. They are tasked to take back Hu immortal blessed land. Your brother has no way to survive. 3 supreme elders. That is the battle strength of 3 Gu immortals. Fang Yuan heard this and licked his lips, before his gaze turned a bit dimmer. Lord Sky Crane knew what he was thinking. He laughed and said, Fang Yuan, don't feel any guilt towards this. Your brother had ventured into the wrong path. He is walking on the demonic path now. He actually slaughtered his entire clan. This makes him a beast worse than pigs or dogs. Fang Yuan is a true and blue demonic head. You cannot feel any sympathy towards him. Killing him is equivalent to benefiting the people of the world. Think about it. If he is alive, how many innocent people would be harmed? That's right. Brother's hands are full of blood. He is a murderer, a killer. I will take revenge for my clan, for my uncle and aunt, for Xin Shui'er. Fang Yuan inwardly shouted, urging himself. Good. That's it. Lord Sky Crane was evidently very happy with Fang Yuan's attitude. Think about these years. You were training in Fu Hu blessed land. How dangerous and terrifying was it? 1 year outside was 8 years inside Fu Hu blessed land. You became a rank 5 Gu master, suffering so much and enduring so much. Wasn't it for the greater plan of taking back Hu immortal blessed land? Don't screw up at the last moment. You cannot disappoint everyone at this most crucial juncture. Don't worry, master. I understand. I will do my best and contribute to the sect. I will exterminate all evil and take down my brother in the name of justice. I will not disappoint you. Fang Yuan assured resolutely and unhesitantly. Chapter 657, Dongfang Changfan, Minuscule Mountain. The light of wisdom dyed the cave walls with beautiful lights. Fang Yuan quietly stood in it for a good while before opening his eyes, slowly stepping out of the wisdom light halo. The wills in his mind were almost fully consumed. Mortal Gu could only produce limited wills and could not compare to Wisdom Path Immortal Gu. My deduction of Immortal Crane Sect's plan has failed, not because I don't have enough wills, but because I don't have enough clues. Fang Yuan reflected inwardly. After being in the Wisdom Light halo many times over these days, he had summed up his experiences. Wisdom Gu is different from natural inspiration. Wisdom Gu emitted the light of wisdom, which could provide unending insights to Gu Master. But the result of the thoughts and deductions were based on the Gu Master's foundation as well as the clues they had accumulated. Fang Yuan's attempt at deducing Immortal Crane Sect's conspiracy against Hu immortal blessed land failed because he did not have enough evidence. In summary, the deeper the Gu Master's foundations and the more evidence they gathered, the more accurate the outcome of the deduction would be. Naturally, when there was more evidence, there would be more factors to consider. And the amount of thoughts and will consumed would also become larger. Especially when deducing Immortal Gu recipes, the factors to consider were too many, thus the wills consumed were enormous. As for natural inspiration, it was a precious experience when a Gu Master advances to a Gu Immortal. During this process, the Gu Master questions heaven and earth would directly provide the solutions with no need for the Gu Master to think. Let's take a difficult mathematical problem from Earth, for example. Solving a multivariate equation. If the Gu Master used Wisdom Gu, his thoughts would quickly consume while he would obtain numerous insights, causing there to be many paths to the solution. Some of these paths might be dead ends while some might give wrong results. Only a few would be correct paths which could deduce the solution, while natural inspiration would be akin to directly giving the correct answers. The Gu master would obtain the correct answer, but they had to know how to use it. Thus, during natural inspiration, the Gu master should not ask overly profound questions. Fang Yuan did not directly ask about eternal life. Maybe heaven and earth would give him an answer, but he would absolutely not be able to comprehend it. It was like a child who had not learned mathematics seeing a linear equation. They naturally would not be able to comprehend the answer. To comprehend this answer, the child would have to learn numbers, unknown variables, positive and negative numbers, and so on. But this would only be the foundation of the foundation. To Gu masters, even if they obtained answers to excessively profound questions, they would not be able to comprehend it or be able to use it. Even if they asked about all aspects of this difficult problem during natural inspiration and comprehended the basics, the time consumed would be too high. The amount of information would also be so large that the mind would not be able to bear it. As such, the best way to make use of natural inspiration was to ask according to the state of one's current foundation, then stabilize the foundation and progress step by step. But within Wisdom Path, there is an immortal Gu that can allow a Gu immortal to directly obtain answers. That is Heavenly Secret Gu. Gu masters do not need to have their thoughts collide nor make deductions. As long as they grabbed onto that strand of Heavenly Secret, they would directly obtain the answer. In the records of history, this Gu was created by Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable. He possessed a rank 8 Heavenly Secret Immortal Gu, but after his death, this Heavenly Secret Immortal Gu disappeared without a trace, and there has been no news regarding it since then. Fang Yuan suddenly recalled Heavenly Secret Immortal Gu worms had one ability, and even the rank 9 Wisdom Gu is no exception. The higher the ranks of the Gu, the more powerful their ability was. If Wisdom Gu was truly activated, its effect would definitely be terrifying. But even if it was stronger, it could not replicate the effect of Heavenly Secret Immortal Gu. It was rumored that Paradise Earth Immortal Venerable was the rank 9 Gu master who could detect and react to the heavenly fate most closely. He created Heavenly Secret Immortal Gu to interact with heaven and earth, and also to experience natural inspiration again. If I have Heavenly Secret Immortal Gu, it would combine exquisitely with Wisdom Gu. Meanwhile, if anyone else used Heavenly Secret Immortal Gu to investigate me, all of my secrets would likely be exposed. Heavenly Secret Immortal Gu could let Gu masters directly question heaven and earth. There were no events in the world that heaven and earth did not know of. It was as the saying goes, except you and me, only heaven and earth know. As for other Wisdom Path Gu worms, Fang Yuan did not need to worry for the moment. The wind veil of assimilation had swallowed everything, cleaning up all the traces of crimes Fang Yuan had committed in Imperial Court Blessed Land. Without Heavenly Secret Immortal Gu, Wisdom Path Gu masters would have to make deductions according to normal methods, and that was to gather as much evidence and clues as possible. They were unable to plunder any crucial clues from Imperial Court Blessed Land, and could only begin investigating from the Imperial Court contest. It was not impossible to deduce Fang Yuan's true identity with this. It was only that the probability was low, and the time required would be longer. Northern Plains, Jade Pool Blessed Land. From a bird's eye view, the Blessed Land was covered with innumerable large and small deep pools with the color of a mixture of blue and green. Led by Chanyu Tribe's Gu Immortal, Tongzu, around 10 Gu Immortals of Northern Plains righteous path slowly descended from the air. The noble Jade Pool Blessed Land is truly unique and fresh. These innumerable jade pools are like the stars in the sky, their beauty unmatched. A female Gu Immortal strolled through the sky, expressing her admiration. Her hair that was 20 to 30 feet long draped behind her and was extremely eye-catching. All of these jade pools have different types of water, raising countless aquatic species. Dongfang Tribe's fish groups and water vegetation have been famous for a long time in Treasure Yellow Heaven. A male Gu Immortal opened the third vertical eye on his forehead and gazed at the jade pools with a shining gaze. Lord Murong Qingxi and Lord Guanshan Zhao are exaggerating. My tribe's Jade Pool Blessed Land has only been in operation for just over 6,000 years. The landscape cannot compare to Murong Tribe's Inyang Blessed Land. While in terms of productivity, it still falls short of Guan Tribe's Shi Huang Blessed Land. Gu Immortal Dongfang Yikong, who was attending to them, welcomed them with a smile, modestly talking of Dongfang Tribe's specialties. Jade Pool Blessed Land was the headquarters of the Huang Jin family's Dongfang Tribe. A superforest. A group of Gu Immortals slowly descended. This, among the myriad jade pools, did not appear to be a remarkable location. Beside a jade pool was a small hut. An elderly man was sitting beside the pool in front of the house. In the midst of fishing, these are underworld eels. Guanshan Zhao's vertical eye on his forehead gazed at the pool before blurting out in shock at the scene inside the clear pool. When the other Gu immortals heard it, some of them also showed slightly moved expressions. Sir Dongfang, we have already not seen each other for over 10 years. Thinking of back then when we charged into Snowy Mountain and fought side by side. Sigh, time really flies by. Everyone stood still, as Gu immortal Tongzu, who had the highest cultivation, made a greeting. Lord Tongzu, you are still as graceful as ever while this old man has one foot in the grave. I don't dare to compare with you. The elderly man who was fishing stood up slowly. He was Dongfang Changfan, Northern Plains #1 Wisdom Path Gu immortal. Dongfang Yikong walked to Changfan's side, as Changfan continued. Dongfang tribe is honored with the presence of all of you. Being able to welcome everyone to my humble abode is an extreme honor. Everyone, please come in. Dongfang Changfan led everyone inside the hut. The inside of the hut was spacious. There was a plaza and also halls. There were 16 stone statues at the plaza, seemingly arranged in order as well as randomly, as they were separated by varied distances. The expressions on them were subtle, as if containing some kind of mystical pattern. This is Dongfang tribe's rank 6 immortal Gu house, modest thatched hut. It truly is brilliant. One Gu immortal praised directly. Dongfang Changfan led everyone to the administration hall and seated them. Northern Plains Righteous Path Gu immortals, representing all the different forces, had gathered under one roof. Dongfang Changfan sat at the main seat and smiled as he observed everyone. This time, I have invited everyone here personally in order to make a transaction with you. Guanshan Zhao and the others glanced at each other with no one taking the initiative to speak. It was still Tongzu who responded. Sir Dongfang already decided to not make deductions for others tens of years ago. But in the letter, you said you were making an exception for us, and will deduce the true culprit of the destruction of True Yang building or perhaps other aspects. But I wonder how we can pay for this transaction? Dongfang Changfan coughed several times before sighing. This old man's lifespan is at its end, and I know there is no hope in prolonging my life. But before I depart, I have some concerns lingering in my heart. One is the tribe's growth and the other is my tribe's descendants. I hope I can make this transaction with everyone. This old man shall make deductions for each of your tribes once, and after I die, I hope everyone can ally with my Dongfang tribe. Alliance. Yes, this old man has already roughly prepared the alliance contracts. Everyone can examine them, and if you have any objections, we can modify it right here. Dongfang Changfan took out 2 East Window Gu, which he then handed to the Gu immortals. The Gu immortals skimmed over the contract one after another. The alliance conditions were extremely lax. Dongfang Changfan did not even request for mutual help and protection among the allies. He only requested that after he died, they had to protect Dongfang tribe's peace for 50 years. In this time period, the parties in the contract could not target, suppress, or attack Dongfang tribe. The Gu immortals involuntarily felt a rush of excitement. Dongfang Changfan was currently the #1 Wisdom Path Gu immortal of Northern Plains. Besides him, there was no one else suitable to deduce the true culprit of True Yang building's destruction in the cultivation of Gu immortals, who would not encounter some difficult problems relating to their cultivation. Or perhaps, they might obtain immortal Gu remnant recipes that require deductions? With Dongfang Changfan, these issues were very likely to be resolved. Even more importantly, after Imperial Court Blessed Land perished and 88 True Yang building collapsed, large numbers of Gu worms were brought over by the formless fist to all regions of Northern Plains. The aura of immortal Gu manifested in many places, causing the Gu immortals to contest over them. At this crucial time, if Dongfang Changfan deduced the location of an immortal Gu, then they were very likely to get that immortal Gu. Everyone was more than moved, and they couldn't help but praise Dongfang Changfan's shrewdness. If it were during normal times, Dongfang Changfan's bargaining chip might be somewhat less important. But now, when one deduction was very likely to represent one immortal Gu, all the Gu immortals were moved. Great, Sir Dongfang, our Chanyu tribe accepts your conditions. Tongzu spoke first, then He tribe, Morong tribe. Every tribe's representatives also accepted. This situation was within Dongfang Changfan's expectations. His smile became even brighter. Since this is the case, Fairy Li Shan, please take action. Fairy Li Shan? While everyone was surprised, a rank 6 female Gu immortal walked from behind the hall and appeared in front of everyone. Fairy Li Shan, I trust you have been well. A Gu immortal greeted. Another Gu immortal laughed. Sir Dongfang sure has made ample preparations, even inviting over Fairy Li Shan. It is just that this jade pool-blessed land does not have any mountains or rivers. How will we make the oath? Dongfang Yikong, who had been silent all this time, stood from beside Dongfang Changfan and spoke. Everyone, please wait and see. He then opened his palm. Lights and vibrant colors floated in the center of his palm, revealing a miniature mountain peak. Could this be minuscule mountain? Morong Qingxi opened her graceful eyes wide as she reacted first, saying in a disbelieving tone, exactly. Dongfang Yikong gave a modest smile, but the pride within him could not be concealed. A commotion erupted among the Gu immortals. Chapter 658. Difficulty in resolving the issues. He Lulan appears. In the underground cave, the light of wisdom flickered back and forth from bright to dim. Fang Yuan quietly stood inside it. Only when the wills inside his mind were fully consumed did he open his eyes and step out of the wisdom light halo. The deduction he made had succeeded, but Fang Yuan was gloomy because of it. To seal spring-autumn cicada, as much as over 6,000 mortal Gu are required. Among them, almost half are rank 5, with rare Gu worms reaching 2,000, and there are also about 800 ancient Gu worms. These ancient Gu worms are either extinct or on the brink of extinction. My initial estimate is that I require about 23 immortal essence stones to use this method. Fang Yuan was in a poverty-stricken state. 23 immortal essence stones were a hopeless number for him currently. But Fang Yuan had to brace himself to accomplish this task, because spring-autumn cicada's recovery was becoming faster and faster, making the situation of the first aperture more critical. Fortunately, with Fang Yuan having turned into a zombie, his first aperture turned into a dead aperture. Thus it was able to hold on till now. If the aperture was like before, it might have already burst. According to the current situation, I estimate I still have over 2 months to plan and prepare. If this time limit is crossed, the first aperture will not be able to endure even if it is already dead. Fang Yuan was feeling a heavy pressure. He was now a member of the living dead. Even if his first aperture was destroyed, he would not die. But losing the first aperture would no doubt greatly reduce his future cultivation potential, and that would be an immeasurable loss. Fang Yuan was in a difficult situation, and there was only one feasible method to earn 23 immortal essence stones within a short period of time: selling immortal Gu recipes. Returning to Danghun Palace, Fang Yuan called in Tai by Yunsheng. I have been paying close attention to Treasure Yellow Heaven over these days, taking almost no rest. But Langya Land Spirit's divine sense has not appeared since the beginning. Tai by Yunsheng's answer made Fang Yuan feel disappointment. Langya Land Spirit's divine sense called itself Langya Old Immortal in Treasure Yellow Heaven, and it was very active at that. But now, it had not appeared at all, almost like it was missing. Fang Yuan keenly sensed Langya Land Spirit was likely to be facing some problems. He recalled his previous life where Langya Blessed Land had suffered a total of 7 waves of attacks. Previously, when I was in Northern Plains, the second wave of experts had already attacked Langya Blessed Land. Could it be the third wave of attacks has already occurred and Langya Land Spirit is busy dealing with it, thus having no time to refine Gu? Memories of Fang Yuan's previous life were not able to help him in this aspect. He only remembered about the 7 waves of attacks and did not remember the detailed timings of these attacks. Even if he remembered the exact timing, this world was already influenced by him and had experienced huge changes. Who is to say that the changes upon changes might not have shifted the attacks to an earlier time? My horizons have been continually broadened these days. A piece of 10,000-year profound ice costs half an immortal essence stone. Half a kilogram of hurricane mountain pepper has the selling price of an immortal essence stone. What are divine jade pearls? 10 of them actually cost half an immortal essence stone. There is also, what's that white spiral silk? Its price is even more ridiculous. A pinky-sized amount costs 3 immortal essence stones. Heavens, right now I realized how poor I am. Tai by Yunsheng chattered on about his harvest over this time, speaking in an excited tone. During these days, as Fang Yuan interacted with Tai by Yunsheng all the time, he gradually discovered Tai by Yunsheng had a shortcoming. That was his prattling mouth. He was talkative. Fang Yuan handed a letter Gu and interrupted his chattering. This is the letter sent by Immortal Crane Sect. Please read. Tai by Yunsheng sent his consciousness inside. His brows soon frowned into a knot. In this second letter from Immortal Crane sect, their tone was even more harsh and fierce, already making their intention to attack Immortal Blessed Land exceptionally clear. Immortal Crane sect even used the tone of the victor, demanding Fang Yuan to surrender. These guys have gone crazy for Dang Hun Mountain. If it were me, I would at least first stabilize you, then carry out hidden attacks. Aren't they afraid their actions will make us take preventive measures? Tai Bai Yunsheng said in a displeased tone. This is the power and confidence of Immortal Crane sect. They are one of the 10 great ancient sects of Central Continent and have an incomparably deep foundation, having stood tall and straight at Fei He Mountain for hundreds of thousands of years. Besides this, I think they are trying to pressure me and also probe the intention of my backers. Fang Yuan analyzed. Yes, Immortal Crane sect is stronger than any single superforce of Northern Plains by some degree. We are too weak, while they are a colossus becoming more and more overbearing. It will be very difficult for us to protect Immortal Blessed Land from them. Tai Bai Yunsheng spoke carefully, glancing at Fang Yuan several times. He already had thoughts of retreating, giving up Immortal Blessed Land, and moving far away. He just did not openly express it. Fang Yuan knew his thoughts. Tai Bai Yunsheng was a healing gu master. He was benevolent and could be said to be feeble, seriously lacking the spirit to make a stand. Fang Yuan did not rebuke Tai Bai Yunsheng's intentions in fact. Fang Yuan had also thought of giving up and abandoning Immortal Blessed Land. Dang Hun Mountain represented extremely huge benefits, and Immortal Crane sect and other superforces would definitely want to possess it. However, that was, of course, only as a last resort, as long as there existed hope along with benefits. It could be said that Fang Yuan would absolutely not speak of giving up easily. Fang Yuan thus consoled Tai Bai Yunsheng. Immortal Crane sect is one of the 10 great ancient sects of Central Continent, a superforce, a behemoth, but they also have their worries. How many methods can they use to deal with us specifically? I dare to guarantee it is not as exaggerated as you imagine, especially when they are greatly underestimating our true battle strength. Life was not easy. Immortal Crane sect also had its own problems. New sects were emerging endlessly in Central Continent, continually bringing huge impacts to the 10 great ancient sections. The 10 great ancient sects occupied the most important positions in Central Continent with the best cultivation resources. They naturally would be subjected to competition from all sides. In history, Immortal Crane sect had experienced golden ages several times, but at present, there was a clear disparity. Compared to their most prosperous periods, Immortal Crane sect had not expanded for many years already. This meant they were under some restraints. Since Junior Brother wants to battle Immortal Crane sect, I shall risk my life to accompany you. Don't worry, no matter how dangerous the situation gets, I will support you till the last moment. Tai Bai Yunsheng patted his chest and swore. Fang Yuan nodded. I also ask Old Bai to not worry. I, Guyu Fang Yuan, am not a stubborn man. If there was nothing to be done and the situation was truly unfavorable, I would definitely take the initiative to retreat. Forcing back Immortal Crane sect's first wave of attacks perhaps won't be difficult, but the main problem does not lie here. Immortal Crane sect is a very big sect. If we repel them, they will at once arrive with another wave. After this continues for few times, Immortal Crane sect's offense will become stronger and they will start treating us more seriously. We need to rely on another great force to resolve this issue, making an alliance with another ancient sect. Tai Bai Yunsheng repeatedly nodded in complete agreement. But Junior Brother, you have already sent a letter to Spirit Affinity House, but until now they have yet to reply. Was our letter gu intercepted by Immortal Crane sect? How about we send some more letters? Fang Yuan shook his head. The letter gu he contacted Spirit Affinity House with was not his, but the rank 5 letter sending Greenbird gu created by Feng Jiugu. Back then, Fang Yuan defeated Feng Jin Huang and obtained Immortal Blessed Land. Feng Jin Huang was indignant and sent a challenge letter using this letter sending Greenbird gu, but Fang Yuan did not respond to the challenge and instead had been detaining this letter gu. He had already speculated this letter gu's owner was very likely to be Feng Jiugu. The reason being that Feng Jin Huang had yet to reach rank 5 back then. Besides Feng Jiugu, it was also likely to be his wife, Feng Jin Huang's mother, Fairy Bai Qing. Regardless of who the owner was, this letter Gu had already been lent to Fang Yuan, its original purpose being to allow Fang Yuan to respond to the challenge letter, and Fang Yuan used this letter Gu to contact Spirit Affinity House. Fang Yuan had been very confident regarding this letter, but Spirit Affinity House still had yet to reply after so long, so he was somewhat unsure now. According to the common-sense conjecture, letter-sending Greenbird Gu was created by Feng Jiu Gu, which represented this expert's will and prestige to some degree. To intercept this Greenbird Gu and risk offending his impressive and dignified presence, this was not at all likely. However, this possibility could not be completely excluded as well. Thus Fang Yuan nodded and accepted Tai Bai Yunsheng's suggestion. Okay, let's wait 7 days. If we still don't receive a reply by then, we will send another letter. Time passed day by day. Who immortal blessed land was in a predicament that a strong enemy was approaching from the outside, while on the inside, cultivation resources were lacking. Even if Fang Yuan used his zombie body and wisdom Gu to deduce and sell immortal Gu recipes of the highest grade, the regretful part was that he did not have the capital to kickstart this plan and could only put it aside for the time being. Langya Land Spirit and Spirit Affinity House were the keys to break through these predicaments, but it was a pity that these two keys stayed in the dark with no messages from them. Who knew when Fang Yuan would receive news from them? Perhaps he wouldn't for his whole life. Destiny created obstacles. The road ahead of Fang Yuan was once again shrouded in obscurity. It seems my luck is still not too good. Fang Yuan scoffed at himself. There was nothing he could do. Since he possessed Spring-Autumn Cicada, his luck was likely to only get worse. He tried asking Mo Yao about improved Immortal Gu remnant recipes, but Mo Yao claimed that she did not know them. She was residing in Fang Yuan's body and had gone through the final battle in Northern Plains with him. She knew Fang Yuan possessed Wisdom Gu, and thus it was not hard for her to speculate Fang Yuan's intentions. Mo Yao was a refinement path. Grandmaster, she very likely knew Immortal Gu remnant recipes, which matched Fang Yuan's criteria. But she did not reply, and since Fang Yuan lacked wisdom path methods, he could do nothing to her. Under this kind of situation, He Lulan suddenly arrived at Dang Hun Mountain. Fang Yuan lost a Stargate Gu and was already not able to return to Northern Plains alone. He Lulan being able to come to Dang Hun Mountain was naturally because of fixed immortal travel.as for how she knew the scenery here. That was because Fang Yuan had sent a will to her of his own accord. This was the agreed-upon plan, but Fang Yuan was still somewhat surprised. If I am not wrong, there is still half a month left before the limit of our agreed-upon time, right? The situation has changed, my friend. He Lulan tones was grave, revealing a trace of worry, making this formidable and ambitious person anxious. The situation in Northern Plains indeed did not seem to be optimistic. However, He Lulan soon realized her flaw and concealed all her emotions, speaking with a cold smile. Naturally, I have another goal, that is to make sure you are not on guard. After all, this is your headquarters. In case you arrange traps against me, I would be messing up your plans by arriving earlier. Fang Yuan laughed, appearing unperturbed, as if there were no issues that could perplex him. After the Battle of Northern Plains, you and I are already tied together for better or for worse. But for complete cooperation, your previous conditions are still insufficient. Chapter 659, The Dirtiness of Humans. Hearing Fang Yuan say insufficient, He Lulan snorted in displeasure. Fang Yuan, you are not very clear about Northern Plains' situation. I will tell you right now. Not long ago, Northern Plains #1 Wisdom Path Gu Immortal, Dong Fang Chong Fan, invited all of the super tribes and personally made deductions for them. His condition was that they had to ally with Dong Fang tribe, and within the 50 years of his death, they are not allowed to target or suppress Dong Fang tribe. Oh, Fang Yuan's gaze focused. There's such a thing? Then, what did he deduce? Reportedly, Dong Fang Chong Fan made one deduction for each tribe, regarding Gu recipes, appearance of immortal Gu, or some tips for killing desolate beasts. He has already deduced much of your information, though I do not know the deeper details. But now, everyone knows that you are not a Northern Plains Gu master, but there is also a Northern Plains Gu master colluding with you. Tai Bai Yunsheng's pupil shrunk, he said with some fear. He actually deduced so many things? As expected of Dong Fang Chong Fan. He Lulan snickered, continuing. Fang Yuan, our lives are tied together now. If I die, who is to say that I will not expose you and Tai Bai Yunsheng? Other than that, is wisdom goo in your hands? Tai Bai Yunsheng's expression changed. He firmly wanted to deny it, but he stopped himself from acting rashly. Fang Yuan calmly laughed. How is that possible? Wisdom goo was already destroyed in the wind veil of assimilation. How could I have brought it here? Tai Bai Yunsheng immediately praised him in his mind. Fang Yuan's skills in lying were simply spectacular. His tone and expression were flawless. It was filled with pity, regret, and other sad emotions. It was as if he really had narrowly missed out in obtaining wisdom goo. He Lulan could not see any flaws in his performance. But next, she squinted, saying in a thuggish tone, I don't care if you really lost wisdom goo. I only know that wisdom goo could have taken the initiative to follow you under the pressure of survival. Hee, you don't have to deny it now. I'm sure you understand my idea. It is not safe for you to hide in Central Continent. It doesn't matter if wisdom goo is really in your hands. As long as I spread information that wisdom goo is with you, there will be nowhere for you to hide. The entire world's goo immortals will chase you down like lunatics until they get to the truth. Are you threatening me? Fang Yuan's expression turned cold. He slowly stood up. He Lulan, you have some guts. Do you not know that you are now on Dang Hun Mountain? As long as we instruct it, the land spirit will use Dang Hun Mountain and kill you right here. Tai Bai Yunsheng shouted. He Lulan laughed with her head high. She said fearlessly, Ha! Even if this is a dragon's nest or a tiger's den, what can you do to me? I made some arrangements before I came. As long as I do not return in 3 days, the entirety of Northern Plains will know that you apprentice brothers are the culprits behind the collapse of True Yang Building. Furthermore, the entire world will know that wisdom goo is with you. Tai Bai Yunsheng's expression froze. He Lulan indeed came prepared. This was targeting his weakness. But at this time, Fang Yuan's eerie words made He Lulan's laughter stop. He Lulan, I know you are not afraid of death, but have you forgotten your hatred? He Lulan's expression changed. Her aura diminished as her eyes were like lightning. Looking at Fang Yuan. State your conditions. You have to agree with my first condition. That is, you have to return fixed immortal travel to its owner, me. Next, Fang Yuan raised 4 fingers. Secondly, after we cooperate, during the process of your revenge, the loot will be split 4 to 6, for you and us respectively. After all, Tai Bai Yunsheng and I make up 2 goo immortals. He Lulan snorted. Do you think you have a helper while I don't? But never mind, I accept these conditions. She hesitated for a bit, but she still chose to give in. Even though she had a tough personality, Fang Yuan smiled lightly. He could see her sincerity from this. He continued. Lastly, I need to know the entire story of this, as well as the reason why you need to kill your father personally. He Lulan was silent for a while, but she soon agreed. You are indeed overly suspicious. I can satisfy all 3 of your conditions. This is nothing I can't speak of anyway. Next, in their conversation, Fang Yuan finally understood the secret behind He Lulan's thirst for revenge. The root of all this was actually 88 True Yang Building. In True Yang Building, there was a true inheritance called Yin Yang Life Extension Method. It had been taken by He Chung long ago. Fang Yuan had actually seen the empty light lump of the Yin Yang Life Extension Method by coincidence in the past. This true inheritance was created by Giant Sun Immortal Venerable when he researched about Renzu for life extension methods. Used this method. A male and female goo immortal have to cooperate, using copulation to extend the lifespan of one of them. But there was a flaw in this that if one gains lifespan, the other must lose lifespan. In other words, it was to transfer the lifespan of one person to the other. The story of Su Xian's night elopement had long since been widely spread in Northern Plains. It had given many young women in Northern Plains the courage to find their true love. To take the first step. 200 years ago, Su Xian was the daughter of a concubine in Su tribe. Her status was not high, and she was often serving wine to guests in banquets, like a servant. Once, when Su tribe leader was attending to He Chung, Su Xian poured wine for him and fell in love with him at first sight. However, Su tribe leader harmed He Chung in secret, using a poison goo on him. causing his strength to fall to rock bottom, and he was chased down by enemies. Sucien Air learned of this and ran out of her tribe's campsite in the middle of the night to save He Chung, who had only met her once. Back then, she only had rank 1 cultivation, but during the night there were wild wolf groups roaming. It was extremely dangerous, and she was simply courting death. But due to coincidence, she found the unconscious He Chung. He Chung was thus saved, and their following conversation became a classic that was passed down in northern plains. He had asked Sucien Air, "I was plotted against by your tribe leader, and you are a Sioux tribesman. Why would you save an enemy of your tribe?" Sucien Air then answered, "Lord has a noble spirit. This humble girl fell in love at first sight. Sioux tribe leader is short-sighted and plotted against Lord under the persuasion of some petty people, but he never considered the result of offending He tribe. If he was allowed to have his way, Sioux tribe is destined to become a sacrificial pawn between two super tribes. People say Lord repays a favor received by 100 times. This humble girl saved Lord today and only hopes Lord can give me a place to stay. It is just and proper for Lord to take revenge against Sioux tribe, but I hope Lord can be merciful and leave behind a trace of bloodline for Sioux tribe." He Chung was overwhelmed at this sight. He tightly held Sucien Air's hand and swore, "Your love is as deep as the sea. I, He Chung, am not a cruel person. How could I not repay you? From today onwards, you will be my only wife. I will not care for any other beauties, no matter how beautiful they are. In this life, I will never betray you." From then on, the two of them became a loving couple that respected each other equally. 100 years later, they both became Gu immortals, and the story was a legend of northern plains. But most people did not know that Sioux tribe faced extermination soon after. He Chung had many wives and children. Sucien Air was neither the first nor the last. He Chung and Sucien Air had a daughter. She followed her father's surname, while getting the name Lu Lan. Years later, Sucien Air died, and He Chung was extremely aggrieved. He announced to the public, his wife's body had deteriorated after giving birth to He Lu Lan. She fell heavily ill, and her strength fell drastically. Thus she died a few years later in her blessed land's earthly calamity. He had obtained the yin-yang life extension method in the true inheritance secluded domain. He kept it very secretive. For his own selfish desires, he lied to my mother with ill intentions. My mother did not know the details, and because she trusted and cooperated with him, almost all of her lifespan was taken by him mercilessly. After my mother died, he concealed the truth. Thus he could still openly be a righteous path Gu immortal. He absorbed my mother's aperture and took all the Gu worms that she accumulated in her life. He is a coward, a dirty and despicable scoundrel. In order to live longer, he actually plotted against the person who loved him the most. Before mother died, she saw his true colors and told me to be careful of him. As expected, mother was right. There was a problem with his cultivation. The lifespan that he took away was consumed very quickly. He is now facing another crisis of dwindling lifespan. This time his target is me. I have the great strength, true martial physique. Once I advance to a Gu immortal, my foundations will be extremely firm. If he uses the yin-yang life extension method on me, less lifespan would be wasted in the process, and he would gain much more lifespan. He Lu Lan spilled all of the secrets hidden in the dark. In her calm tone, one could nonetheless sense her utter hatred. Tai Bai Yunsheng shook his head as he listened. To think that Lord He Chung is such a person, this is really disappointing. He was a prospective Gu immortal candidate in the past, with high hopes to become one. He had interacted with He tribe's Gu immortal, He Bai, in secret, and he was even recruited. Thus, Tai Bai Yunsheng's impression of He tribe had always been good. He Lu Lan's words destroyed this good impression. Humph. This is the so-called righteous path. Who knows how many dirty and disgusting things are going on underneath this glorious surface. In contrast, the demonic path consists of countless characters that are more straightforward. He Lu Lan scoffed. No wonder you didn't respond to He Chung when he called you at the point when the wind veil of assimilation was cut open. Fang Yuan nodded. He looked at He Lu Lan again, feeling a different emotion. He Lu Lan was born with a golden spoon. Yet this actually was a tragedy. Her own father harmed her mother and was now targeting her, attempting to take her lifespan. Lacking the warmth of a family, Under threats and dangers for many years, she had no option but to disguise herself while secretly putting in immense effort, swearing to take revenge for her mother. This was likely the reason why she obtained such a formidable personality. Where there is a cause, there will be consequences. There is a saying called, heroes often meet their end. The hero here could also be replaced with formidable characters. But in fact, it is not that heroes and conquerors often meet desperate situations. It is the desperate situations that create them. In this way, they are people with very pitiful lives. They often encounter and feel much greater pain than normal people. But because of this pain, they learn and become who they are. Those who live in happiness, living like an upright person, being open and honest without any rough rides in life, while attaining numerous achievements and gaining reputation and praise. Are there truly such people in real life? Fang Yuan thought about Earth, about the 500 years of his previous life, and scoffed. Where there are high achievers, there are sacrifices. Those who are higher-ups often need to sacrifice their morals. Of course, there are outliers, lucky people, and those who rely on their family. But how long can they last? How many will be left in the end? Legend says, when Renzu started walking on the road of life, his vision changed. It was pure darkness. He took the first step. The next moment, he stepped into the mud that he raised his foot, wiping it with his hand. It was full of mushy mud and extremely smelly. He was hesitant to move forward. This moment, Self-Gu said, "O human, do not hesitate. If you want to walk on your own road, you will need to rely on your own legs. When your leg steps on the road, do not be afraid of dirtiness." Chapter 660, Snowy Mountain Alliance. Outside the window of her room, snow was silently falling down. The fragrance of tea pervaded inside the quiet room. A woman was sitting beside the vermilion-red window frame. She was wearing an embroidered leather skirt, characteristic of Northern Plains women. The leather skirt was embroidered with purplish-red flower buds, while the edges were glittering with silvery light. She bound her hair with a sapphire blue ribbon which had a pure white pearl inlaid in the middle. Her eyes were drooping, emphasizing her thick eyelashes. Her breathing was soft, and her hands that were as white as the snow moved slowly, concentrating completely on brewing tea. The quiet room was not large, and she was the only person inside. But on the table there were 4 teacups. A rich jade-green light suddenly appeared in the quiet room. The light dissipated to reveal an elderly figure. The elderly man was tall with an eccentric appearance. His hair was gray, and his face was filled with wrinkles. His eyes displayed one who had gone through the vicissitudes of life, warm and tenacious, containing wisdom accumulated in all of his lifetime. The woman who was brewing the tea stood up at the side of the elderly man and smiled with interest. "You are Tai Bai Yunxing." The elderly man was Tai Bai Yunxing. He quickly looked around him before greeting the woman. "Junior greets Senior Fairy Li Shan." The woman nodded with a smile. She was an influential figure in the limelight among Northern Plains Gu immortals, a rank 7 Gu immortal, Fairy Li Shan. She looked youthful and beautiful, but her true age was much greater than Tai Bai Yunxing's. Tai Bai Yunxing confirmed the safety of the surroundings before opening his immortal aperture, from which 2 human shadows leaped out. One turned into He Lu Lan, while the other was an 8-armed immortal zombie as tall as 6 meters with a fierce appearance. It was none other than Gu Fang Yuan. "Little aunt, I am back." He Lu Lan walked towards Fairy Li Shan. Her expression was still cold, but her gaze revealed a trace of affection. Fairy Li Shan glanced at He Lu Lan warmly and sighed, then turned her gaze towards Fang Yuan and Tai Bai Yunxing. "The relationship between me and Little Lan has always been a secret, to the extent that outsiders aren't even aware we know each other. Today, she exposed this secret of her own accord. It can clearly be seen that she sincerely wishes to cooperate with you 2 guests. Especially you, Fang Yuan. Little Lan had mentioned you to me many times over these days. You accomplished such a huge matter, bringing even 88 true young building down." Fang Yuan laughed heartily and said with the hoarse voice specific to zombies, "Fairy is exaggerating. All this commotion is not what I wished for. To speak the truth, I have been doubting He Lu Lan's proposal for cooperation since the beginning, but who could have thought He Lu Lan had such a close relationship with you? This is the best situation, Fairy. With the oath to your immortal Gu, Mountain Pledge, our alliance can be firm and solid. Not long ago, at Hu Immortal Blessed Land, He Lu Lan exposed the reason for her hatred. Then she revealed her relationship with Fairy Li Shan." Fang Yuan was surprised and yet also not surprised. He Lu Lan was under the strict supervision of Gu immortal He Chung. It would be difficult for her to obtain her current achievements just by relying on her own strength. Besides her own efforts, there definitely was outside help. Please take a seat. This snow oil tea has just been steeped. Fairy Li Shan extended her hand to indicate Feng and Tai to be seated. Fang Yuan waved his hand in refusal. Let's make an oath and establish the alliance first. It won't be too late to drink tea then. Virtuous Junior Feng is quite decisive. Fairy Li Shan lightly praised before calling out an immortal Gu. This immortal Gu resembled a beetle. It was thick and solid, even bigger than an adult's palm. Its body was ash gray with a stony texture. A pair of large pincers grew on its head. Its back was not glossy and was instead rugged like mountains, and there were specks of stripes, like moss, on the joints of its legs. Fairy Li Shan aptly explained. This is a rank 6 information path immortal Gu, as famous as Sea Oath Gu. As long as you choose a mountain to pledge to, and as long as this mountain still exists, the oath cannot be violated. Virtuous Junior Feng, I wonder which mountain you want to choose. Fang Yuan slightly raised his brows, then he pointed outside and laughed hoarsely. What other place can be better than this mountain? Tai Baiyun Sheng asked, not understanding the situation. What mountain is this? This mountain is called Snowy Mountain. Fairy Li Shan smiled and introduced. Snowy Mountain? Where have I heard this name? Wait a second. Could it be this is that nest of Northern Plains demonic path Gu immortals, Snowy Mountain blessed land? Tai Baiyun Sheng cried out in shock. Where else did you think it was? He Lu Lan sneered. Fang Yuan provided an introduction for Tai Baiyun Sheng. There are differences between immortal and mortal. Old Bai, you just recently advanced, and you only have heard me mention some information about the Northern Plains Gu immortal world in passing. This Fairy Li Shan is the owner of the third branch peak of Snowy Mountain blessed land. You can also call her the third leader. Third leader. Tai Baiyun Sheng stared at Fairy Li Shan with wide open eyes. He had never expected for this gentle and refined woman to be a demonic path Gu immortal. Moreover, she was the third leader of the largest demonic path nest of Northern Plains. Cough, cough, cough. Dongfang Changfan was lying on his sickbed, coughing incessantly. With every cough, his pale white face would wither a bit more. Lord, a handsome young man was standing beside the sickbed with a mournful and grieving expression. He was wearing a white robe. His face was white like jade and his eyes were deep, revealing a calm, mature temperament. It was Dongfang Yu Liang. No need to grieve, Liang heir. Cough, cough. To be born, get old, be sick and die is the way of nature. Dongfang Changfan gasped for breath after saying this, and continued after recovering some strength. Your talents are better than mine. Among the whole tribe I feel most optimistic about you. The responsibility of Dongfang tribe's growth can only be shouldered by you. I, Dongfang Changfan, would not misjudge this. Lord Supreme Elder. Dongfang Yu Liang's eyes reddened, sobbing silently. The old man nearing death in front of his eyes was his benefactor. Dongfang Yu Liang lost his parents at the age of 11. After that he had to maintain his livelihood and also care for his 6-year-old sister. Dongfang Qing Yu.to preserve their lives. He gave away all the inheritances left by his parents. But it was exactly because of this that he was noticed by Dongfang Changfan, not only becoming a trusted aide, his sister was also given great care. Later, Dongfang Yu Liang even received Dongfang Changfan's personal guidance. And despite the obstructions and oppositions from many sides, Dongfang Changfan appointed Dongfang Yu Liang as the tribe leader. After Dongfang Yu Liang lost in the imperial court contest and returned to the tribe, he was suppressed and pushed aside by various factions. It was Dongfang Changfan who protected and shielded him again. Paying a considerable price, Dongfang Changfan was becoming weaker and weaker. He opened his mouth several times, but no words came out. Finally, he spoke in an extremely weak voice. Your hand. Dongfang Yu Liang extended his hand and grabbed the old man's right hand. The old man was holding a gu on his hand. This gu, take it. Dongfang Changfan's face turned red from the strain. Extracting the last bit of energy from his dying breath, he closely stared at Dongfang Yu Liang and reminded him, although Dongfang tribe has signed an alliance agreement with the other righteous path tribes, the affairs of world are changeable and hard to predict. My death will cause Dongfang tribe to fall down from its prosperous period. You are my successor. You must be careful. This gu, once you activate it, it will bring you to a secluded place which contains the cultivation resources I prepared for you. Insights about immortal ascension, the tribe's secret history as well as all my comprehensions of wisdom path cultivation. Remember, Always prioritize your safety, don't be impatient. The tribe has demonic path spies. Dongfang Changfan's expression froze, the flush on his face turned fainter, and the final trace of radiance in his eyes faded. Lord. Dongfang Yuliang's face was already covered with tears, and this moment, he could no longer hold them back, crying in sorrow. Northern Plains' #1 wisdom path Gu immortal, Dongfang Changfan, had passed away. The news spread. Dongfang tribe cried for 3 days and 3 nights. And when the great forces of Northern Plains received the information, both demonic and righteous path Gu immortals let out breaths of relief. Dongfang Changfan was a legendary character. At the time of his birth, Dongfang tribe was already declining rapidly, with only the name of a superforce but with no power. Dongfang Changfan became a Gu immortal and led the tribe, scheming in all directions, using wisdom path methods to devise strategies, tying bonds to powerful friends, killing the weak, and even plotting for his enemies to fight each other, causing Dongfang tribe to rapidly rise again. Dongfang tribe's growth was almost entirely because of Dongfang Changfan. But because of this, all the Gu immortals of Northern Plains became aware of Dongfang Changfan's might. Wisdom path Gu immortals often did not need to use their own hands to humiliate their enemies. Making schemes that connected like a spider web, one thing would lead to the other. Enemies would feel like they were sinking into a swamp but unable to extricate themselves. Gu immortals feared Dongfang Changfan and secretly reached an agreement, banning the sale of lifespan Gu to Dongfang Changfan and even secretly destroying Dongfang tribe's plans of searching for lifespan Gu. Dongfang Changfan schemed against others, and finally was also schemed by others. The sun was high in the sky, Crescent Lake gleamed in the sunlight with the occasional dragonfish leaping out of the lake. Leftover snow piled up beside the lake. This was the remnant of the once-in-10 years blizzard disaster. Fang Yuan destroyed giant sun immortal venerables arrangement. The blizzard disaster poured into Imperial Court blessed land. Thus the destruction caused by the disaster in Northern Plains was many times lighter than the past. Imperial Court blessed land existed no longer. While True Yang building was also destroyed, there would be no more of the once-in-10 years blizzard disaster in Northern Plains. The remaining snow slowly melted under the sunlight. Grass was already poking out of the snow. There was a mixture of green and white grasses mixed together. Fang Yuan and Tai Baiyunxing moved together, seeing many water wolves and solitary tri-horned rhinos in their path. Water chestnut trees used to fill this place, but now it was a scene of barrenness, the trees already freezing to death or breaking down from the accumulated snow. The intense change in the scenery brought Fang Yuan some trouble. He was searching for the passage to Langya blessed land, that purple stone tree left behind by thieving heaven demon venerable. 3 days had passed since the alliance with He Lulan. Little Hu immortal was at Hu immortal blessed land, paying attention to treasure. Yellow heaven all the time, but still not seeing Langya old immortal's divine sense. Fang Yuan took back fixed immortal travel and used this immortal Gu to go to Crescent Lake. Fang Yuan did not directly teleport to Langya blessed land to prevent any unnecessary misunderstandings. He planned to use thieving heaven demon venerable's arrangement again and enter properly. Because the surroundings had changed, he was unable to directly teleport to the purple stone tree. Being able to directly appear beside Crescent Lake was thanks to Tai Baiyunxing. When he was wandering over Northern Plains, he had once dug a cave beside Crescent Lake and made simple arrangements, staying for 2 to 3 months. The cave had not collapsed. Fang Yuan first lent fixed immortal travel to Tai Baiyunxing, then entered his immortal aperture, arriving at this place.